Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. I'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. Commissioner Scar, is she going to be online today or is she not? Okay, Commissioner Scar will not be here today. We'll call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. Our meeting is live streamed and you can join us online by going to our website. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody in the room to mute their phone, and if you're online, you can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. If you guys haven't signed the guest book, you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that. Appreciate that. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have no non-agenda items today. Okay, we'll move right into the agenda. Agenda item 5 is consideration of a personal services agreement with TCB Security Services for courthouse security services. Under Sheriff Matt Kelly. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. For your consideration is a personnel service agreement between Tillamook County and TBC Security Services. They're the vendor that provides courthouse security, the single private security that monitors the south entrance for us. This is a contract for this year through 2027 for estimate 40 hours a week for the entire year. And that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Okay. Commissioner Bell, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So with that, I'm ready for a motion.
Chairman, move approval of the personal services agreement with TCB Security Services for courthouse.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a personal services agreement with TCB Security Services for courthouse security.
Yeah, I second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, calls for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Carries. Okay, Matt, you're up again. Agenda item 6 is consideration of change order number 3 to contract for general services number 6418 with Day Wireless Systems for upfitting of police vehicles projects. Kelly?
As you said, it is for your consideration as change order to our contract. We've had a long-standing partnership with Day Wireless, which is they're a very big company. One of their sub duties is outfitting emergency vehicles. We've had them for probably 7-8 years now. They're a good company, and we're happy with the service. So this is a continuation of that contract with them to outfit our vehicles, basically put the lights in the woo-woos. And it's from the years when I started, we used to build city county shops would outfit our vehicles, and our center consoles were made out of plywood, and they would be put together. They worked, but now it's essentially a computer with all the data, the Wi-Fi, the Starlink and stuff like that. It's a lot more technical process that professionals need to be done, and they do an outstanding job.
Supported.
Yeah, it's just, you made me laugh on that. The other thing was those cars didn't have airbags in the ceiling and all the other things that had to be contended with. So great. I'm ready for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of change order number 3 to contract for general services number 6418 with Day Wireless Systems for the upfitting of police vehicles.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Sheriff. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 7. This is consideration of a professional services agreement with Lodge Funeral Home and Tillamook Crematory for the removal and transfer of deceased subjects to Chief Examiner Services. Aubrey Olson, District Attorney. Good morning.
Good morning. This is for a continuation of the contract we've had for quite some time now with WADS to help dispose of deceased subjects who are under the control of the county medical examiner, or that are basically people who are requiring investigation pursuant to ORS Chapter 147. The only difference in this contract from years prior is a $50 increase in cost per subject to be transported, which I think is reasonable considering the high cost of inflation we've seen. I mean, this is the first increase that I've seen since I've been presenting these contracts.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, I appreciate Juan's service to this community.
As do I. They're great partners.
Great, fantastic. I'm ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a professional services agreement with Wadd's Funeral Home and Tillamook Crematory for the removal and transport of deceased subjects to Chief Examiner Services.
Okay, I will second that. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving along to agenda item 8. Is it Marlene today? Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Great. Consideration of an intergovernmental agreement number HD-R-182142-2026 with Multnomah County for Health Officer and Medical Examiner Services, Marlene Putnam, Administrator, Health and Human Services, but not for long.
Yes, I was just noting this morning that I had my last all staff meeting with our department this morning. So it's
It must be
bittersweet.
bittersweet.
Yeah, definitely. But we've got some overlap and some onboarding time for the new administrator, which is exciting, and also some support after that as needed. And I have to say, this agreement also is exciting because it's been a year in the making.
Great. Now, is this your final time before the commission? Before us?
I'm
No.
not sure about
Rachel's
that.
saying no.
No.
Okay, good. I didn't- So Rachel, go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll
the new
be
person-
doing, oh, go ahead.
Sandra starts on July 16th, so Marley may be here on the 15th, depending on if she has any items.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, today you have 4, so the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Well, the one that you're talking about, and also Rocky Phillips, Public Health Deputy Director, is also here to provide any support or information on our agreements here as needed. So this first one, as I mentioned, with the Multnomah County Intergovernmental Agreement, has been a year in the making to develop an agreement between our county and Multnomah County for the delivery or provision of public health medical consultation and supportive public health program administered by our local public health administrator and the medical examiner services consistent with Oregon Revised Statute 146. So 2 roles. This position is filling our health officer role and the medical examiner role. That medical examiner role is in support of the district attorney's office and team there, and the health officer is for the county public health services. Basically, this agreement term starts April 1, 2026, even though it was started back in August or so of a previous year, and then it'll be renewed in a 1-year increment, but maybe unilaterally canceled depending upon circumstance or change of circumstances for either party upon 30 days notice. The description in this says what the local health officer's role is and what their access is for us as a department. So for the health officer role, it's 4 hours a week approximately. And there's a description of the scope of work of those duties that are consistent with Oregon statute. And then there's also an access for the medical examiner role and is description of the scope of work and duties per statute for that role. So basically, we're combining this into one agreement because one person meets both of these criteria and is an employee with Multnomah County. So we're purchasing about a 0.2 FTE equivalent or approximately 8 hours a week in these 2 roles, but they will be documented separately and then sent to the county, and we'll pay them from our respective departments. So from the district attorney's office and then from our public health department. The rate is also described in here, and there's a contract term in here also that indicates a total amount not to exceed 100,000 in the contract term. And then other provisions in the agreement were negotiated between both county council at Multnomah County and Tillamook County. So they've been approved as to form and also substance or content. It was signed by Multnomah County on 6/25/26. And I think we're now looking at it today for your review, approval, and signature.
Okay. Well, obviously another important service we have to provide, and I'm grateful that Multnomah County has the ability and the capacity to let us use one of their personnel, because this has been a difficult pair of shoes to fill since Dr. Belinsky retired. So thanks for the work on finding someone to do it.
And congratulations getting this together. I know that you've been working on this contract for a long, is it a year? It's a long time, isn't it?
I think it's been about a year, but Joel Stevens, County Council, or others would know more specifically, but it seems like it's been at least a year to me. Yeah.
I'm really glad to have it buttoned up.
Yeah, me as well. So ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of intergovernmental agreement number HD-IGA-R-18214-2026 with Multnomah County for the health officer and medical examiner services.
And I second that. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Okay, we'll move on along to agenda item 9, consideration of a 10th amendment to the Oregon Health Authority 2025-2027 intergovernmental agreement number 185828 for the financing of public health services. Marlene, once again.
Yes. So you're familiar with these agreements. This is the agreement between Tillamook County and the Oregon Health Authority for the delivery of public health services. It includes all of our public health program elements, or as they're listed in here, it just says PE, and then it gives a code or a number for each one of those. So this agreement, since we're in the biennium of 2025 through 2027, we're about done with the first year, or we are done with the first year as of June 30. So this agreement describes the funding for July 1, 2027 through June 30 of 2026, 27. And also those funds that are being carried over for the first year of the biennium. So it'll have a column for FY26 and a column for FY27. As a result, the total allocation of funds for the biennium, or for this current fiscal year, is $2.15 million. And the actual annual allocation for the fiscal year, for the coming fiscal year, is pretty close to the same as it was last year. It's just you add in the allocation of the carryover funds, and you'll see 2 new programs in there that are additional and new program elements. They're marked as PE 82 and PE 8201. And they're on page 133 of this 187-page document. So if you want to dive in, you can find that more detail about it. But what that includes is Rural Health Transformation Program funding that is carved out of those federal funds that came to the state of Oregon, specifically for public health services. So those 2 program elements cover those items. And I'm trying to think, I think that's, for such a large document, that's a pretty brief summary. The detail of all the program elements and the duties associated with them and Oregon Revised Statute are in this long document, along with the other provisions that have been reviewed by legal counsel and approved. Happy to answer any questions or provide any detail if you would like.
Okay, great, thanks. And just remind everybody, if they want to dive deep into that document, it is on our page, on our agenda. So feel free to dive in, Commissioner Bell.
I do not have any questions.
I don't either. Somebody for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a 10th amendment to the Oregon Health Authority 2025 to 2027 intergovernmental agreement number 185828 for the financing of public health services.
And I second that. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in
Aye.
favor? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on. Agenda item 10, consideration of an interagency agreement with Head Start / OPK for medical and dental access to children's health services. Marlene.
This is also an annual agreement that we enter into between Tillamook County and Head Start under the rules that pertain to Head Start. And as our partnership has existed for a number of years, this is pretty much the same agreement that we have had over the years, other than changes of dates. We did not, per Exhibit A, increase anything in terms of the cost of our services for Head Start. So what this does is it ensures that we have an agreement to work with Head Start to ensure that children have access to medical and dental health services for those children and families participating in Head Start. And it lists out what those costs will be that Head Start could pay if the family's not able to. We still apply our sliding fee and so forth for families accessing services. But this is just an additional backup to make sure they receive the support and services that they need as participants in Head Start. And again, this was signed by Head Start on June 29th, but our services typically run for the fiscal year. And there's more detail about the specific types of services, but primarily they cover medical and dental services, and it can include well child exams, testing, venipuncture, oral exams for dental, and follow-up for dental service as well. And again, that's a pretty basic summary, but we've had this agreement for many, many years and appreciate our partnership with Head Start and the work they do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a very important program.
I am grateful that we can offer this service. It's a wonderful service to local children and families. And
Okay, great. Ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of an interagency agreement with Head Start /OPK for medical and dental access to children's health services.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. All right, one more. Agenda item 11, consideration of a personal services agreement number 26-27-006 with Divergent Ideas LLC for Family Connects Oregon Alignment Support. Marlene Putnam.
Yes, and I don't know, Rocky, if you want to jump on and describe a little bit about the Family Connects program shortly, but I can provide an overview on the agreement. So I mentioned in the carve-out funding, that's part of the new program elements, the P82 and 82-01, that there is some new funding in there. And one of the programs in that is Family Connects Oregon, a universal home visiting program. And again, Rocky can provide some more detail. This agreement pertains to a contract in order to provide some community-based support, outreach, and engagement for the Family Connects program with Divergent Ideas LLC, with a term beginning June 1, 2026 and ending September 30, 2027, with the total amount not to exceed $39,000. And the contractor, this is the business, but our contractor is Michelle Yank, who's worked with us on a number of other programs. And I will hand it off to you, Rocky, to provide any detail about the Family Connects program and the scope of work attached.
So the background with Family Connects Oregon coming to Tillamook County is the funding is through the Federal Rural Health Transformation Program, which OHA applied for. And then it's a part of the competitive grant application cycles that OHA has been putting out to get these funds into counties. So it was a competitive application. We applied for the home visiting expansion, which is FCO. Family Connects Oregon is a universal home visiting program that serves all people regardless of income or insurance status in our community who deliver a baby and reside in Tillamook County. And the important thing to note here is regardless of income and insurance status. And usually what that means is folks with no or underinsured folks. In this regard, in this particular program, it doesn't matter how much you make or what your insurance is. So we would serve everybody who delivers a baby in Tillamook County. And that's particularly important because there's a certain portion of our population who don't qualify for Medicaid services, and they fall between the cracks because perhaps they make just enough money or they have insurance, and so they don't qualify for some of these additional programs that we have available for low-income families. And this is an additional safety net to help these people. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your income is. A new parent is a new parent, and they all need the same amount of support. So I'm really excited to be able to implement this program here. And this grant with Michelle specifically is for the community alignment phase of this. So it's working with our partners to get everybody involved and working in the same direction. Partnerships and relationships with other providers and our hospital system within Tillamook County is going to be a large focus of this work. And it will also be wrapped up into Tillamook County Wellness's Access to Care Committee as a subcommittee working on perinatal and maternal child health care.
Great, fantastic. Sounds like a great program.
It does. Yeah, I'm very glad that we have this funding and that we're offering these services, and it's I'm pleased. So thank you for your work on that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a personal services agreement number 26/27-006 with Divergent Ideas LLC for Family Connects Organ Alignment Support.
And I will second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you both. Thanks,
Thank
Marlene.
you. Have a good day.
You as well.
Two.
Thank you. All right, we shall move on to agenda item 12. This is a consideration of change order number 1 to prevailing wage rate contract for construction number 6867 with Bayview Asphalt Incorporated for the Twin Rocks paving project. Chris Leahy, Director of Public Works. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. We had contracted with Bayview Asphalt in order to and have them pave certain roads in the Twin Rocks area. We asked for a change order to increase the total dollar amount to accommodate the additional paving needed. That brings our total cost up to $276,112 and $0. Request approval.
Okay, great. Well, I know that this is a very popular, we're very happy about this paving project.
True. Yes, absolutely. I've heard from some of the neighbors and they're really grateful. So thank you.
Yep, thanks a lot for that. I'm ready for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of change order number 1 to prevailing wage rate contract for construction with number 6867 with Bayview Asphalt Inc. for the Twin Rocks paving project.
Okay, I second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Chris. And come on down, Deborah. Agenda item 13 is consideration of a professional services agreement with Singular Whack.
Singer Lueck.
I'll let you say it, for auditing services. Deborah Jacob, Director of Financial Services, and our elected treasurer. Good morning.
Good morning. So as Commissioner Forney said, this is a professional service agreement with Singer Lueck LLP, our current independent audit firm. This agreement covers annual audit services for fiscal year end June 30, 2026, and covers the county's comprehensive annual financial report as well, and single audit, as well as solid waste service district annual audit and the 4-H extension service annual audit. This is required under Oregon Municipal Audit Law and ORS 297 and covers the period of July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027.
Great. Fantastic. Just some housekeeping, help keep us transparent. Do you have any questions?
I'm fully supportive.
Okay, ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a professional services agreement with Singer Lueck for auditing services.
And I will second that. A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. You see, that's good. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Deborah. All right. Agenda item 14, consideration of amendment number 8 to grant agreement number 5012 with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association for Destination Management and Communication Services. Rachel Haggerty is presenting today for Isabel.
You got the memo. Good morning. The county has had an agreement with Visit Tillamook Coast since 2019, and it's served as an umbrella agreement that goes through June 30th, 27. And we annually modify the allocation depending on what comes out of the budget committee process. So this is the last amendment to this umbrella agreement, and presumably there'll be another one next year, but it would have a different form. So there's 2 changes for this modification. The first being under fiscal year 25-26 allocations under 4.28, there was an allocation of $400,000 for the 25-26 Community Facilities Awards. And in January, the board approved, following the recommendation of the Tourism Advisory Committee and Visit Tillamook Coast, to increase that allocation based on the projects that they ranked from $400,000 to $453,425. So that change is in here. And lastly, the allocation for 26-27. So Visit Tillamook Coast will receive a base amount for a variety of projects and general operating expenses in the amount of $1,501,340 in TLT funds. That will serve as the base, as we refer to it. They receive it in 4 equal distributions quarterly. And then on top of that, they will receive a $400,000 annual allocation for the 26-27 facilities grant awards. So it's ready for consideration.
Great. I'm very supportive of this. I see Dan Haig is in the room here, and I just appreciate, they are a contractor for us technically, but they're really a partner. And I really appreciate the destination management style they do. We're not just advertising, and we have to invest back in our visitor industry because it's so important to us economically. And just I want to mention real quick, we just came off the 4th of July holiday, and we had some requests from community members for some signage for people's yards, and I basically emailed Dan, and within a couple of days they had a design and printed those up and handed them out to the community. Over 200 signs, I believe. Yeah, we really appreciate that, by the way. So I'm fully supportive.
Thank you, as am I. This is a long-standing, really positive relationship with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association, and I love, because I was on the original TAC, the Tourism Advisory Committee. I've seen the whole evolution, and I love how the organization has grown, how flexible the organization has been, and how it has grown and worked with us to manifest the vision of the county. And so it's been very dynamic, and I continue the work moving forward.
Absolutely. Ready for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of amendment number 8, grant agreement number 5012 with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association for destination management and communication services.
And I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Dan. All right, moving on to board concerns. Do you have any?
Not today.
I'm gonna offer one up and I'm gonna ask you. So this Friday is a solid waste task force meeting in a public hearing in Salem. I will be providing testimony. This has been ongoing and I haven't been following as much, but luckily Walter Chuck, commissioner from Lincoln County, kind of got myself and Yamhill County Commissioner on board. Basically, what we're discussing is the state realizes that with the closing of Coffin Butte, that there's some definite infrastructure needs that other counties, particularly Yamhill County, Lincoln County, Polk County, Tillamook County. So these meetings are trying to figure out what that looks like, because we're going to have to ship the garbage somewhere other than Corvallis, which means using either rail or barges. So I'll be participating in that, being part of the conversation. So we're at least at the table. And Justin from Solid Waste is helping me kind of get my hands on it. So that's what I'm doing. But I want to hear about your appointment.
Oh,
Your state
thank you.
appointment.
Thank you. That's very kind. But first, let's finish talking
Okay.
about your subject. So I don't think I caught up with the detail about Coffin Butte they were going to
Yes.
expand or stay open. Now, has that changed?
Yeah, so the commission voted to approve the expansion and then backtracked and voted to deny the expansion. So we don't know when we'll have to stop shipping garbage there. It'll probably be within 5 years, possibly. The next closest place is Arlington, up to Columbia, which is, many miles away. So all these, and I also was thinking this last night, is with the addition of a closing, Benton County is going to have to find a place to send their trash. So we've just increased the need for another place. We don't have proper zoning and stuff to create such a facility here. So we have transfer stations. So yeah, so it's a big deal. The cost of garbage collection and dumping fees are going to potentially go up astronomical. So I know that all the haulers and all the companies that are providing the service are watching this carefully because they're worried about their customers as well, because it's going to be cost. And then what happens, and Justin has talked about this with us, when you don't have an easy service for garbage, it ends up on the street or it ends up in the woods. So this is very important. I mean, I'm really keeping an eye on this. I know Justin's keeping a close eye on this. So yes, it is closing. We don't know exactly when, but luckily it appears the state is having this task force and having meetings, and it looks like some of it includes some funding, which I hope it does, because a lot of the requirements we have are handed down mandates from the state. So I'm hoping they're going to help us expand. There's talk of like a transfer station in Brick Real, where the train is. There's apparently they can load garbage. So basically this garbage is either gonna be barged or shipped on train by railroad all the way to Arlington. So big deal, trying to make sure that we're at the table so we can let them know what our needs are here. So.
Thanks. I'm glad you're representing us. Thank you. Well, I was appointed to the Oregon Dogami Governing Board, which is the Department of Geology and Mineral Industries. And that's very exciting to me. Dogami on the coast is instrumental in the tsunami preparedness efforts here on the coast, but not exclusively that. Also, they're also mapping. They're doing all kinds of highly technical mapping. So they've mapped the places where previous tsunamis reached. They can tell that now with LiDAR mapping. They can tell exactly how high the waves hit in which places. So they've created the tsunami evacuation zone maps, the inundation zone maps, the landslide maps. We've been using that technology just recently, looking at places where when we're looking for emergency cache sites that are adjacent to tsunami evacuation zones out of, obviously, inundation zones on private or on public property, but they can't be sited in landslide areas. And if you think about like the places where there are hillsides, a lot of those, what you would think was like, oh, this is the safe zone. It's not, because it's a mapped landslide area. So we've been using those maps recently. And other local applications are rock quarries, for example, are regulated as mining operations. So those are some of the local examples. It's important that there's a coastal representative, but I will also get to serve the entire state and to learn about all of the applications statewide. And so it's a lot of science, which I love. It's very exciting to me. I'm a hopeful for field trips. Apparently they used to do field trips, but they don't anymore. They changed to a mostly remote model during COVID, but they're talking about getting together in person more often. And so it'll be a great service opportunity. It's an honor to be appointed by the governor, and it's a 4-year term. They have term limits, 2 terms. And I'm just really looking forward to it. So thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm excited. I'm glad you threw your name in the hat and that you got selected and appointed. I think that's fantastic. You know, Dogami, I remember when I worked for the Headline Herald, the reason I found out what Dogami was the Cape Mears Road slide.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an active slide, which is like, we are using these maps for the new Cape Mears Road, was they had to figure out where that is. And I learned about liquefaction,
Yes.
about the earth shaking so much it turns to liquid, like the Capes area. And stuff like
Yeah.
that. So very, very important to us on the coast. So I'm glad we have a voice on that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And Commissioner Scar was appointed to the Department of Land Conservation and Development. So when she comes back,
We'll have to have her.
yeah, let's have her talk about that, because that's a big deal also.
Fantastic. Okay, and so we are going to have an executive session. I'm going to read all of our announcements and meeting information first. So the commissioners will hold a board briefing today, Wednesday, July 8th, 2026 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held here in the Board Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. Teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID is 866-914-607#. The commissioners will hold an executive session on Tuesday, July 14th, 2026 at 10 a.m. to conduct a performance evaluation pursuant to ORS 192.660 Parenthetical 2, parenthetical I, the executive session will be held in the Board of Commissioners, Meeting Room 106 in Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. The executive session is not open to the public. And with that, I will recess this meeting at 9:35 a.m. to go into executive session pursuant to.
Mr. Chair, this executive session is being held pursuant to ORS 192.660, subparagraph 2H, to consult with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. And with that, we will recess this meeting. Okay, welcome back. We are in executive session. I'm going to adjourn this meeting, this board, reconvene, and then I'm going to adjourn it at 10:22 a.m.